Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Um, going to give it a second for folks to get on in here. If you are joining me on YouTube and or Facebook, please speak when you come into the room because I don't get to see you until you comment. Good morning, Corvette Dan. Nice to see you. Hey, Yasmin. What's up, David? Good to see you as well. Hey, Ellen. Good to see you. Hey, Lisa. Good morning. What's up, Time for Change now? When Dixie, good to see you as well. It started going very fast. Salt and Sassy. Sharita, good to see you. Hey, Cam. What's going on? Good morning, United in LA. Yeah, I am on early. I have a very, very full day today. The grandson is graduating from middle school tomorrow. And so I have to 100%. Hey, Denise. I have to cut out earlier than usual today. I need to go. The pants that I got him just don't quite fit exactly right. So I need to go and pick him up some things. And so, it's just a lot that Tutu has on her plate today, including baking another whole batch of cookies. We did a whole batch last night, the girls and I did, and we used all kinds of different cookie cutter shapes to do little bite-sized chocolate chip cookie bars for the staff at the front office. So we delivered those this morning. Good morning. Hey, Brandy. Hey, Constant. Pink Panther, you did that too. Yeah, I've got to do more today. What's up, Conchita? Yes, I'm really excited for him. I don't know if you all saw, if you don't, hey, Sharon, good to see you. If you don't, what's up, Pamela? If you don't follow me on Facebook, hey, Cheryl, hey, Pie Slice, then you will have missed it. But I was really, really proud of my grandson because he did his testing and all of his testing scores came back. What's up, Marky and Red Hot and John? Good to see you all. And so for his math, he tested above 77% of the kids in the country in his grade level. And then for reading, he tested higher than 93% of the kids in fifth grade in the country. He actually is reading on a 8.5 grade level. So really excited for him. I know that testing isn't great for every kid and not every kid does well on them, and that it's not a great way to measure everyone's skills, but he's not that kid. And so he's just doing fantastic and I'm really excited. Hey, Mila, can you hand me something real quick? Hold on. She's fighting with zombies. Hold on. I'll show you. Ugh. Give me a second. He ran up to me last night. It was really cute. He said he came out of the room. And right, exactly, Marky. So what was funny is he came out of the room last night and he goes, Tutu, I forgot to tell you, the rest of my graded papers came in. And so I said, okay, so what are they? And he says, oh, good God, Winn-Dixie. I'm not surprised. And so anyway, so he says, I'm about to show you. So he handed me the stack of papers. So I call my mom, right? And so I pull the first one up and it's 100. I pull this one up, it's 100. I pull this one up, it's 100. I pull this one up, it's 100. Long story short, it's a stack of all hundreds, 193 and 185. So he's very excited. So, well, no, he's going to middle school, girl. I got 3 years before high school, 3 years before that, right? Yeah, so super proud of him. So anyway, yeah, I'm on early today because we have a lot. I have a lot to do today, but I have a lot to cover. So if you follow me on Substack, then you know that I wrote an article very early this morning and published it at 6 o'clock. So if you subscribe to me, I do free subscriptions on Substack. So I am over there. So if you follow me, there is a new post over there and I've started up the chat. Y'all listen to me when I say this. She's over here playing with the zombies in Minecraft. So I am doing my best to level everything up. It's really important. And yeah, Conchita, pull it back all the way back. Thank you, Winn-Dixie. I appreciate that. Good morning, Tam Bam. What's up, Dad Jokes? Good to see you. Hey, Tim Ratcliffe, good to see you as well. So yeah, so I wrote the article this morning, and I am going to touch on it a little bit. I talked about the media earlier this week as well, and we're going to talk about it today. But there are a couple of things that I want to make sure that I talk about. One is going to be the media. Mila, don't scream so loud. Go away, she's saying. Whatever was trying to kill her in the game, she said, go away. Go away, monster. Anyway, you know that I talked about the media earlier in the week. We're going to talk about it again. Mila, not so loud, love. I do want to talk to you all about the Venezuelans. And what I don't want to talk about is what the Supreme Court did, right? So allowing the lower courts to decide the fate of these Venezuelans. Yes, it is an issue, but I actually want to talk about some hard facts and some data because I think that it's really important for the people who have been saying, oh, I support this. And, and I think that, hey, good morning, Lisa. And, and I'm glad that, these folks are being deported and all of these different things. Hey, Penny G. Hey, Witch, if I didn't say hi to you as well. And so I do want to talk about those things. And then I hope to get to AB as well. And then I do want to talk about Don Jr. I just feel really strongly this morning. I feel very strongly about it all the time, but this morning I'm really irked in my soul about the way that things are being done. Hey, Tracy, good to see you. And I'm irked in my soul. Hey, Sandy, with the media, like tremendously. I am so over people coming for Joe Biden or Jill and anything else. I'm just so over that for so many reasons. And I'm just like, I don't know what has happened, but there was this shift that took place for me about, hey, Janice, good to see you. Just the energy that I want to put behind all of these things, right? Hey, Sharita. So I am so grateful that that it's the last week of school. Good morning, Uka. Hey, Allie Nicole. So, summertime, I don't know what you all do with yours, but for me, summertime, I don't care when they go to bed. I honestly don't care. Summertime is summertime. Have at it, right? So I am grateful that them jokers will be up playing, having fun, swimming in the pool, getting tired out, and then sleeping while I work in the day. So the goal is to level everything up for the next little bit. So, it just is what it is. Hey, Jersey girl. So let me start by this, okay? So the first thing that I want to talk about is the media and what kind of started me down this path. Now, you all know, right, Salt and Sassy, I don't care. They can do whatever. Because to be quite frank, and this is 100% transparency, it is good for me when they stay up in the evenings and then they sleep while I work. It's fine. Don't get up until noon. I'm okay with that because then I finish work shortly after that and then we can have fun, right? What's up, Ja? Good to see you. So you can look for more podcasts, more Substacks, more Blue Skies, more whatever. I'm just getting organized in a way to kind of put all those things out as early as possible in the morning. Okay, so let me say this. I do want to talk about the media, and you all know that I talked about. Oh shit! Damn. My brain is just, I am ADHD like you would not believe. Oh my Lord. What is wrong with me? Sweet baby Jesus. Give me 1 second, y'all. 1 second. I got to take care of something. Because if I don't do it right now, I will 100% forget. And I need to do it right now. So just bear with me 2 seconds while I do multiple things. Y'all just live life with me. I just want y'all to know that for people who are like, you just do everything. I do. I have to make life happen the best way that I can make life happen. And that means multitasking my absolute ass off. And so that's what's happening right now. So, and I don't even care to tell y'all what it is. Here's what I did. I am normally ahead of the game. I don't even remember getting my notice this month. Tell me why I just got an email that was like, hey, alert. Yeah, because I forgot to pay my electric bill. So that is what I'm doing right now while I'm talking to y'all, because I certainly did just forget because, I mean, it ain't shut off or nothing, y'all. But I'm just like, for fuck's sake. I know how to do this. You know what I mean? Oh, great. Patrice, I'm so glad that it reminded you to pay yours because holy crap. I'm putting this from there to there to there. And sweet. Holy Lord. Okay, I'm all good. And I have paid my electric bill, and great, done. Okay, so this is what happens. Like, I'm just living life, y'all. This is just real talk. This is how shit happens, right? I'm juggling too many things. But you know what a friend of mine said to me. This was several years ago. Do y'all remember when business people, everybody was joining these mastermind groups? Do y'all remember mastermind groups? And so I was in a mastermind group with a lot of, and I'm just going to be real again, and I was only invited because the guy that invited me is the husband of a childhood friend, and like we certainly don't operate in the same circles at all, but he knows me, knows what I do, da 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 da. Anyway, invited me to the group, so I came, right? And they're all like rich white men, most of them. Some of them are variations of the whiteness, but you get what I'm saying. So anyway, so in this conversation, one of the things that they said is, listen, if you are not dropping the ball, you're not playing a big enough game. Like when you're playing the game, when you are in the arena, if I could say it in my Brene Brown language, right? When you are in the arena, when you are doing the work, when you are taking up space, when you are living life and trying to do the best that you can in every area, things are going to drop. Things are going to fall through, and that means you are playing a big game, right? If nothing's dropping, if you're not dropping a ball every now and again, you probably could level up your game a little bit. You know what I mean? So every time I forget something, I just console myself with that subject, with that knowledge. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's talk media. Yeah, baby.
I want you to play Minecraft.
You want me to play Minecraft with you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you for the sugar. I'll play Minecraft with you in just a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I love you. Thank you.
I see you a burger.
Oh, you give me a big, big hug. Thank you for the big hug, sissy. Okay, so here's the day. You've been there, done that? Right, Denise Ford, just saying. Okay, so, hey, Thomas Griffin, good morning. So let me just say this to you all, right? So you all heard me talk about the media when I was talking about Adriana Smith and the way that things have been portrayed in the media. One of my greatest frustrations, hey Cheryl, hey Auntie Tinker, has been the way that they have used this picture of her being pregnant with her first son. Right. So when people go to read these articles, what they think is that she's that pregnant at the time. Right. And that's not the case. Right. That's not the case. And so that's one of the ways that the media has irked my soul in the last week. Right. And this morning I woke up. And so what I will do is once I kind of get myself together in the mornings, I will do like a scan of the headlines just to see like what's happened. Did I miss something? What do I need to look further into? And so when I did, I saw this headline that said Trump signs the Take It Down Now Act, or Take It Down Act, right? And I was like, what is the Take It Down Act? Like I hadn't heard that much about this. And I was like, what is this? And, there's not been much that has moved successfully through Congress, right? And so I'm thinking, what has moved through Congress that Trump is signing into law? Like, what is this? So I Googled Take It Down Act. And then what I see are all of these headlines that say, all of them, almost all of them say, Trump signed this. Trump signs Take It Down Act into law. Trump does da-da-da-da-da. Melania-backed bill does da-da-da-da-da, right? And I'm like, so wait a minute. Since when do we see headlines where the first lady is backing a bill? Like, when did that become a thing? Hey, Farrah. Hey, Blue Honey Pot, right? So I'm just like, what the? Okay, so let me just tell you. Remember when I told you all, I always pay attention to the way a headline is written. Because if a headline is written, hey, Skywriter, if a headline is written in a way that shows a real bias towards a politician or a political party, if it's known to shed someone in this fantastic light, I'm skeptical. If it shows them in a horrible light, I'm skeptical. Like, I want to dig in and find out exactly what it is. Hey, Amy. And so that's the way that I view this. And so when I look it up and I see nothing but Trump signs this into law, Trump signs this into law, Trump signs this into law, I'm like, what is this bill? Because now I know they want to make sure he gets credit for signing this bill. So I look it up. Does anybody know what the Take It Down Act is? The Take It Down Act is a law to stop revenge porn from happening. To stop it from people putting up, maybe intimate pictures that you all took privately together or whatever, and somebody wants to get back at you, and so they post your things online or on social media, right? So this is the Take It Down Act. That's what this is. Okay. So I'm like, I think this is great. So, but then, and deep fakes, correct. And deep fakes and people like using your images and all of those things. So here's what's funny, right? Here's what's interesting about this, because I'm like, well, when did this bill get introduced? Because here's one thing that I know. If there's nothing that Donald Trump likes to do, that joker likes to brag. Right? Hey, Marcia, good morning. So I'm thinking, if this is such a great bill and it's a great bipartisan bill, why in the hell hasn't he been talking about it leading up to this? Because you would think that this is his deal, right? You did cheat, Amy. And here's the thing. The bill was introduced January 16th. Guess who was the president January 16th? Here's a hint. It was not Donald Trump. It was Joe Biden, right? 4 days before the inauguration. And get this, the bill was introduced by Ted Cruz and Amy Klobuchar. It's a truly bipartisan bill, right? That was introduced. Hey, Joan, haven't seen you in a minute. That was introduced during the Biden administration and signed into law under the Trump administration. Now, let me say this to you all. Here's what irritates my absolute soul. Here's what irritates my soul is the media is choosing to put Trump in the headline for what reason? Well, here's what we know. Any headline that says Trump is guaranteed to get clicks and shares, even if people don't read the damn article. We can all agree on that, right? We know that that's what's going to happen. And then here's what's going to happen today. And I promise you, this will be the damn thing. Somewhere on TikTok, there is a MAGA person jumping up on a Democrats panel talking about Donald Trump did this to get rid of revenge porn and deep fakes. And y'all aren't even giving him credit for this great thing that he did. I swear, I know that that's happening somewhere on TikTok land. And then somewhere on TikTok land, there's a Democrat saying it was really a Biden bill and it wasn't Trump's bill and it was really Biden's. And they're all arguing about who gets credit, right? And here is the thing that gets me about this. What could happen, what in my opinion would be fantastic, is if there was an article besides my little bitty Substack that I wrote this morning that said this: bipartisan bill introduced under a Democratic administration gets signed into law under a Republican administration because Congress can work together when it's in the best interest of the American people. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing if an article like that was written to be able to tell people, to give people a little bit of hope, to show people that something did successfully move through Congress and it was truly a bipartisan bill, right? I mean, come on, you guys. Ted Cruz is easily one of the most hated Republicans that there is. So to be able to, this could be a ginormous win for the country if positioned the right way. Thank you, Sandy. Right? Because literally, right, Cam, I'm just saying, he's the dude that likes to go on vacation when, the rest of his state doesn't have electricity, heat, right? But here's my thing. So this bill was introduced under the Biden administration by Amy Klobuchar and Ted Cruz. Beautiful, right? It goes through, they introduce it in the Senate. I did, y'all. Oh shit, I didn't. Sorry. Thank you all for hitting that goal. I don't know what I did. I thought I did. Yes, baby. Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Thank you for the kisses. Oh, bless you. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Shug. Right. Who needs electricity, Sandy? Right? Oh, wait. Hold on. I love you too. You being super lovey?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. So this is my thing, is that it would be amazing to show the American people something that isn't so divisive. The only thing that we hear about Congress is when they're fighting. The only thing we hear about Congress is when somebody smacks down somebody else by letting them talk, or when somebody cuts somebody off to say da 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 da. Like, that's the only time that we hear about what's happening. It's on my damn list, Carla, and I still forgot to do it. It's the only time that we hear about what's happening in Congress. And shame on the media for that being the case. Right? Bless you, baby. Shame on the media for using Adriana Smith's old photograph for when she's pregnant. Shame on the media for not telling just the facts of a situation. You can quote what people say and also include just the bare facts. You can say, these are the facts. This is what we know. These are the dates. And then you could say, so-and-so said such and such. Right? You can do that. You can say, here's the facts, and so said such and such. You don't have to say so-and-so said such and such and leave all the damn facts out. You can have journalistic integrity. It's a real thing. And I'm going to tell you what, CBS better find a backbone and stand up to the Trump administration. Because when you see the producer of 60 Minutes resign, when you see the president of CBS resign, and when she says it is clear that CBS and I can no longer agree on our path forward, that is an indication that the free press is greatly at risk, and we need to do something about that. And let me just say this, while I celebrate Sesame Street making a deal with Netflix and being available to people and all of that, not every child in this country has Netflix. That is the whole reason we have public broadcasting, because not everybody can afford cable. Not everybody can afford Netflix. Not everybody has Disney Plus. Not everybody has those things. So I think it's great that Sesame Street struck this deal with Netflix. I also think it would be great if we fully funded, that if we kept our funding for PBS and kept doing what's in the best interest of our children. Call me crazy, but I really do believe that the children are our future. So we might want to do right by them. You know what I'm saying? So again, yeah, a lot of it is on HBO too. But again, HBO, people don't, you know what I mean? People don't always have access to HBO. And so this is my thing. I would love to see so many of you put up a post similar to what I just said, right? And tag PBS in it, and tag your legislators in it, and tag all of those things in it, and talk about that very real thing. Education, exactly, Joan. That's exactly what I was about to say. Education should never be based on income. We have to stop treating people badly because they're poor. My mama's messaging me. Hold on. Let me text back. Yes. You need me? Everything okay? Multitasking. That's what I do. 1 second. I got to read her message back. Yeah. So this is my thing. This is where we, the general public, have the ability to make these points and make them out loud and make them known in all of our circles and in all of our communities. You know, I will get off this live, and at some point there will be, thousands of views, right? And what if even half of that, even just like the 137 people that I see right now, if every single one of you went on all of your social media platforms, made a post about Sesame Street and Netflix, and you can celebrate it and then point out the fact that not everybody has access to Netflix, and that you got it, and that, you know, PBS should be fully funded and our children should not be neglected or disadvantaged because they are poor, right? And tag all of your representatives in it, and tag your local media in it, and tag PBS in it, right? And tag Netflix in it, right? Tag Netflix in it. Here's what I know. If Netflix can put the documentary 13th on YouTube for everybody, then we can do Sesame Street the same way. We can do Sesame Street the same way. Can't we, Netflix? Can we not? If nothing else, can we not put the archived Sesame Street episodes on Netflix? Why can't we do that? You can keep the new ones on Netflix, but why can't we put the ones that are archived over there, right? Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay, so I had given my old iPhone 11 to my uncle for him to try to FaceTime with my mom, right? And he could never quite get the swing of it, even though he bought a book called iPhone 11 for the Elderly. And so he ended up mailing it back to me. And so I'm trying to get in it, right, into the phone. And so I said, Mom, can you ask Uncle Rod what the code is for the phone? He can't remember. But at 86, come on, you know what I mean? Like, so we're trying to figure it out. So she's texting me different combinations. But it'll be all right. So again, I think that this would be amazing. So I'm going to have one ask of all of you today on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. I'm going to ask that you do make a post and maybe send that post in email form to your legislator about this, right? About those types of things. No, it ain't, Sandy. I wish it was. And about the fact that it's great that PBS made this deal with Netflix, and however, children don't always have access to Netflix, and they should get to see Sesame Street. You know what I mean? Hey, Hector. So that's my ask for today. That is my ask for today. No, it's 4 digits. I was there when he put it in 2 years ago, right? But you know, kind of is what it is at this point. All right, so that's my spiel about the media. Is I cannot stress enough how important it is for you when you see a headline, and that headline is particularly flattering or degrading to a particular party or a person. That is a sign to you that that's a spin. That is listen, I'm going to say that part again. That is a definite indicator that it's a spin. I would do the email and putting it in writing as well, right? But do you hear what I'm telling you? If you see an article, if you see a headline, and that headline is super, super great for one person or party and degrading towards the other, that is your first sign that something is amok. That is your first sign that there's a spin on it somewhere, which means you need to do just 5 to 10 minutes of looking some additional things up. Notice I didn't say the word research because it's overused and people don't really know what research is anymore. So just going to throw that out there as well. Okay. Good morning, Linda Sims. All right. So I want to move on to Venezuelans and talk about this. Now, I know that some of you all think that I am going to talk about, oh, he said, look inside the cover. They are doing so much right now. Mila, can you hand to that box right there? So let me just say this. I'm not going to say the word research because, yep, that box, baby. Thank you. You are so amazing. What's up, Stacy D in the place to be? I just, yeah, girl, nowhere in this book. Look inside. What? It's okay. I will look for it later. Like, it's okay. So now he's gonna freak out. He's gonna freak out now because he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Tell sis I'm so sorry." I need him to not freak out. It is not that big of a deal. I will find a way to fix it. It's fine. Um, but I can see him. I can hear him in my brain stressing about having done something wrong and me not being able to use my phone and all of that. Like I can just hear him. But anyway, so let me, I want to go on to Venezuelans. And I know that a lot of you are going to talk about this, the Supreme Court deciding that the Trump administration can go ahead and end temporary protected status for 350. TikTok did an update. I don't know what that means. Sandy, an update to what? What, baby? Yeah, I'm okay, baby. Okay. She asks me that all the time. I think Bella does it too. If Bella hears me take like a deep sigh or I read something and I'm like, "Ugh," or whatever, Bella will say, "Are you okay, Tutu?" So now Mila's doing it. They can hear me when something happens and I'm like, "You got to be kidding me," or whatever. They're just like very attuned. Yeah. Mama, you okay? Yeah. They say, "You okay, Tutu?" Your son does that. See, I really think that they are intuitive. And so more restrictions, your live keeps pausing. My lives keep pausing. That's so weird. Well, I don't know. I'm not saying anything horrible. Let me see this. Okay.
Tutu, look at that, my make.
It's not pausing for you, Brandy?
Tutu, look that I make for Bella.
Okay. Well, all right. So let's what, baby?
That I make.
I don't know. Okay, so all right, perfect. We're gonna keep it going. Thank you, Sandy. That's probably why Sandy's gifting so much as well. That's probably why. Yeah, Lenny, I agree with that as well. So here's the thing, right? When we talk about the Venezuelans, ending, okay, so what does that mean that the Supreme Court says that the administration can end the temporary protected status that is there for these Venezuelans? What does that mean exactly? What it doesn't mean is that the Trump administration can just go round up 350,000 people and deport them. That's not what it means. What it means is that it's going back down to the lower courts. That's what it means. It means that it's going back down to the lower courts, and the lower courts will continue to rule on whether or not they had appropriate notice, whether or not they've had the right to due process, whether they have had all of those things. So this is a thing of it's going back down to the lower courts for them to deal with. I also think that the Supreme Court is getting a little tired of the Trump administration throwing them in the spotlight so much on issues that could be resolved by the lower courts. But here we are. But there's actually something else that I want to talk about. How many of you all have seen the report from the Cato Institute on the Venezuelans who have been deported so far? How many of you guys know what I'm talking about? No? I love the fact that I get to tell you all something new. So I will tell you this. Most people, Mila, not so loud. So most people will say that the Cato Institute is more conservative than anything else. What they are most often described as is a libertarian think tank, right? Just so everyone understands, it's a libertarian think tank. So why does that matter? Why am I bringing that up? right? No worries, Cam. So one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because if it is a right-leaning organization, a libertarian-leaning organization, right? A Republican-leaning organization, and they have information concerning immigration and Venezuelans that indicates anything contrary to what the Trump administration has been saying, it's a great source to be able to have conversations with people who have maybe been saying that they support this type of thing, right? Does that make sense? Everybody's following me on that? So that is the reason why I was kind of, I won't say excited, but I was hopeful and I was, kind of positive in seeing that this came across. So let me just share with you the overall kind of takeaway from this. You ready? So first of all, this is what we know. There have been, let me do the math. Oops. Hold on, I clicked the wrong thing. So there are 174 Venezuelans that were deported to CCOT. Okay. Now, here's what's so interesting about this data. Okay. And y'all know we love the data, right? Because it gives us a foundation to build on. I know that we're having issues with TikTok. Do you all think that I should reset? Should I restart on TikTok? Sometimes y'all TikTok gets glitchy and sometimey and moody. And you think I'm good, Amy? I'm good if y'all are good. Okay. So perfect. Great. All right, here we go. All right. So we love good data. Good data gives us a foundation to build on. Hey, Florida woman, Madezel, right? What's up, coolest mom ever? I hadn't seen you, Catherine. All right, so let me just tell you this. So of the 174, restart it might boost your popular rating. I'm down for whatever y'all want to do. You commented and gifted and it stopped. Y'all know TikTok is like, get them gifts going. It's funny. I think TikTok asks y'all for gifts because I don't. Isn't that funny? Hilarious. Okay, so, all right, so here's what they did. Out of the 174 Venezuelans that had been sent to CCOT, okay, the Cato Institute went to kind of look and see, okay, well, how many of them got here legally, illegally, or it's unknown. So let me just tell you this. When they did this, there were 84 people. Appreciate you, Sandy. 84 of the 174, the Cato Institute could not find anything online to be able to say how they did or didn't get here. So 84 of them, it was unknown. What?
Well, I want snack.
Yeah, you want a snack? Okay, go get one. You can have a snack. So if 84 of them, it's unknown, that means there were 90 left, right? So out of those 90, get this, you guys, 40 were illegal and 50 of them had come to the country legally. So there are 50 people in Venezuela's roughest, most horrible prison. Hey, Angie, right? One of the worst prisons in the world to be in. And they came here legally. They literally did nothing wrong. Now, the Cato Institute, the report goes even a little bit deeper, right? So here's what they say. Let me go. All right. They said the government calls them, quote unquote, illegal aliens. But of the 90 cases where the method of crossing is known, 50 men report that they came legally to the United States with advanced U.S. government permission at an official border crossing point. So a Reuters survey of 50 men also placed the proportion of those who entered legally at about half. So here's the thing. Reuters and now the Cato Institute have both said that about half of these individuals, where we can track down and we can figure out their status, about half of them came here legally. Okay. So listen to this. It says this isn't surprising because about half of all Venezuelans who have immigrated over the past 2 years came legally as well, either as refugees, parolees, or visa holders. The proportion isn't what matters the most. The astounding absolute numbers are. Because what does that mean? It means that dozens of legal immigrants were stripped of their status and imprisoned in El Salvador. And I want to remind you that I am reading from a right-leaning organization, okay? And it says, these legal immigrants include a temporary visa holder. Listen, a temporary visa holder is now in CCOT, y'all. 4 men who were authorized to travel through the U.S. refugee program. So we took people that are here that were granted refugee status, 4 of them, and they are now in CCOT in El Salvador. The government vetted these refugees abroad and concluded that they would face persecution, letting them resettle in the United States. The other 45 legal immigrants scheduled appointments using the CBP1 app through which they were permitted to seek entry. Among those with appointments, 24 were paroled into the United States where they could live and work legally for up to 2 years, while the other 21 were detained at the port of entry. Y'all hear that? Of those with information online, right? This is what we know by entry type. 24 parole after CBP1, 21 CBP1 appointment, 4 refugees, and 1 on a tourist visa. So these 50 people came to the United States of America with United States government permission. It's Cato with a C. I'll put the link in the link tree. Hey, Lulu Bell. They were vetted and screened before their arrival. They violated no U.S. immigration law, and the U.S. government turned around and disappeared them without due process to a foreign prison. And the government is paying the Salvadorian government to continue to keep them incarcerated. You guys, what is that called? Can we talk about this like real talk? Hey, Doug, can we talk about this? What is it called? Yeah, Marsha, kidnapping. It's called kidnapping. The United States government has kidnapped and trafficked 50 people. They were here legally. They violated no immigration law. They violated no law anywhere in our country, right? And they sent them to CCOT. They took them right off the street and deported them to a foreign country in which we are paying to keep them. So let's be clear about this, right? There has been talk. Do y'all remember during the Vietnam conflict when there was all this talk about China being involved in keeping prisoners of war and all those types of things? You know what I'm talking about? And there was a lot of criticism and talk about, what happens to people, which is why we have the Geneva Convention. What we are talking about would be illegal if we were in conflict with another country. And this is happening during peacetime. Let me say that again. What is happening currently would be illegal if we were involved in a conflict with another country. And it is happening in peacetime right now. And where is the accountability for the Trump administration? Because that's what has to happen. Yeah, well, I think the thing that, the Geneva Convention doesn't have anything to do with what's happening right now. Right. Japanese internment camps. Right. But I guess my thing is this, is that where are we? Where are, like, I know that things take a minute to go through the judicial system. I know that. I'm aware of that. And this is when I start to say, when are the members of the Democratic, when are the Democratic members of Congress going to join the ICC? When are the Republicans who know better, who are being bullied into getting in line, when are those people going to do something? Well, Janie, so that's the thing. We've already covered the media, right? I already talked about the media once. This is why we are not going to, this is why, like Janie over on Facebook said, well, what about the media? Where's the media? And my point is, the media is where the media has been. The media is in it for the money. The media, if we don't get it, if you're not certain about things, we need to understand right now very clearly that the media is in it for the money. Oh, no, Janie, I'm not, no need to apologize, honey. What I'm saying is that would be a realistic question. Like, we should be asking, where's the media? That is a relevant and justifiable, like, that's a reasonable question. Where's the media? That is a reasonable question. And it just goes back to the very first point, which is the media is not doing anything except doing whatever they can to generate clicks, views, and reshares, right? The media is in it for the money and the money only, right? And I think that that's the point that I'm making. You shouldn't be apologizing. The media should be apologizing, right? It is the press that should be apologizing to the people of the country. It is the press that should start doing their job and holding people accountable. Like, that's the whole reason for free press. Y'all understand that, right? The reason we want a free press, the reason we've had a free press, is because we do not want to live in a country where the government controls what information the people do and don't get. Yeah, and so, Jen, I hear it. I hear you, right? I do hear you. Jen is saying that she thinks we're in a soft autocracy, which mimics democracy, but not at all actually democratic. I hear you on that front. I hear you. I think the thing is that when we put when we name a thing, so here's the thing. I think that a lot of people, here we go again. We use words. We say words all the time. The minute you say democracy, people start arguing it's a republic, but they can't define the difference between a democracy and a republic because they are virtually the same damn thing, right? When we say words like dictatorship and autocracy and all of those types of things, right? Or an oligarchy, right? It's both. Lulu Bell, exactly. I think that a vast majority of this country doesn't really know what we're talking about. We are a constitutional democratic republic. We are those three things. We are a constitutional democratic republic. That is what we are. Okay. And this is the danger when you have a country that is not appropriately educated as to what things mean and how they work. And that is why, check it out, and that is why it is to the advantage of the corporations and the people that want extreme power to keep people poor. Because if they can keep you poor, they can keep you living paycheck to paycheck. If they can keep you living paycheck to paycheck, then they can keep you covered up in bills, barely getting by, wondering where you're going to eat, half the time sick, living in emergency rooms for things that could be treated at a pediatrician's office. And then you don't have the bandwidth to hold them accountable for the things they do. Right? That's the advantage. You sit back and ask yourself, why would a country want its people to be poor? Has anybody ever asked yourself that question? Why would your country want people to be poor? Why would they want people to be in poverty? Control, 100%. Control. And I want you all to try this on for a minute, okay? Right. Poor, not as well educated, right? Because that's what it's about. And this is my thing. It does not mean that these people are dumb. I want to be clear about something. Being uninformed or not educated on something is not an indicator of your intellect or your intellectual ability. Let me say that again. Clear my throat for the people in the back. A lack of knowledge about something, right? An unawareness, a lack of education about something is not an indicator of intellectual ability. It is often an indicator of access to that information. It is an indicator of access. Everybody here doesn't have the same access to education. Everybody in the United States of America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, does not have equitable access to knowledge and education. And that is how we end up where we are. That is how we end up with a population where 54%, right, doesn't read higher than a 6th grade level. Poverty leads to less free time, 100%. Right? What are the things that poverty leads to? Like if we could sit back and make a list, what does poverty lead to? Poverty leads to, and I'm not going to say this. Let me just be clear. Again, here I go, clearing my damn throat for the people in the back. So I'm going to start where VJ started. Poverty leads to poor health. Now, contrary to what people would have you believe, it is not poor health because all you do is make poor choices. So like, I'm sick to death of seeing this seeing people talk about, oh, well, people on SNAP benefits, SNAP pays for candy and SNAP pays for alcohol and SNAP pays for this, and they shouldn't be allowed to buy this. So you mean only rich people should be able to have a birthday cake? Is that what you're telling me? Only rich people should be able to eat a birthday cake? Really? Get the fuck out of here with that. Again, you don't punish people for poverty. Yeah, baby. That's such good asking. Thank you. You asked me so good. Now listen, when you eat this, you have to be careful with it in your mouth, okay? Okay. So sit down with it, but make sure that you sit up. She said, Tutu, can I have some of this, please? Survival mode does take its toll on you, right? But here's my thing. You know how people will say you have to make better choices when it comes to eating? Well, guess what? Not everybody has the same choice. Not everybody can afford the same choice, right? That's the part, y'all. That is the flippin' freaking part. When it's processed and it comes in a box or a bag, it is cheaper than the other stuff, right? So when we say to people, you should make better choices, but we don't all have the same choices. We don't all have the same choices. And I don't think that people really understand that. What's up, Rebecca Little Bird? Yeah. Not everybody can afford to shop at Whole Foods. And this is my thing. I don't understand how any person in this country can support or celebrate a $90 million birthday parade when children in this country are without housing, without health care, without food. We're just going to say that like that. It's the bare minimum. You hear me? It is the bare minimum to have shelter, to have food, right? Yo, that's the bare minimum in this country, in the world. Like if you talk about the basic of human existence, that's the bare minimum. What do we know happens when we don't have shelter, when we don't have food, when there is uncertainty about those things in our lives? What happens? There you go, Gumps. It leads to crime. We panic, desperation. Yep, there you go. Y'all got it. Y'all are getting it. It leads to depression. It leads to crime. It leads to anxiety. It leads to people unaliving themselves. It leads to stress, which makes people sick, right? It leads to all of those things. That's what it leads to. And we have an administration. I don't care what else you say. I don't care what else you say. We have an administration right now that is stopping food to food banks. In all the places that the government could have made cuts, they thought it was a good idea to stop food from going to food banks. Let me tell you something. They want to drive people from a place of desperation. And yeah, that will work, but it works in a negative way. You can drive people from a place of fullness. You hear me when I say this? So listen, if you make people desperate enough, will they work more? Will they maybe get a second or third or fourth job? Will they whatever? They will. But guess what else they will do? They will commit crime. They will steal. They will harm each other. They will, right, Codeman, right? That's the other things that come along with it. Have you ever thought, because sometimes, and I'm not, so listen, y'all know me. I am hopeful and rooted in reality. I'm a hopeful optimist that is also rooted in reality. I know what we're here. I know what's happening, right? I know that. But let me also say this, right? Have you ever stopped for just a moment and thought about what it would be like if every single person had the bare minimum income? What if everyone could pay their rent and purchase food and had access to health care? What if everyone had just those basic three things and access to education? I wonder what we would innovate. I wonder what people would create. I wonder what our children would come up with. I wonder what our young people would picture. I wonder what could be built, what could be created, what could be made, what could be possible if we were not in survival mode the vast majority of the time. Right, VJ, a better society because people would be happy. That is what I want. Right, Uka? I mean access to life, liberty, and the ability to pursue happiness. Exactly, user 138, all of that. It's what other developed countries have. And it frees us, dad jokes, it doesn't just free us up to dream again. It frees us up to dream a thing, right? To imagine a thing, to visualize a thing, then to apply our knowledge to that vision and then bring it to fruition. That's what it allows us to do. The only reason Steve Jobs and them could like sit in their damn garage and make the first Macs and shit is because they had a garage. Right? When did Steve Jobs, y'all? When did Steve Jobs? The only reason they could birth a business from their garage is because they had a damn garage. If you don't have a house, if you don't have shelter over your head, you can't. Bill Gates, whoever it was, I don't even care. Whoever it was, sitting wherever they were sitting, Jobs, Gates, whoever. I mean, like the name doesn't matter. Right. And some of the best hackers work in their basement because they got a basement. They have a place to be secure. They have a place to live. They have a place to exist. Right? And if he was worried about food, he would not be inventing. Truth. I read something the other day. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So when I took Dominic to his new middle school and we were touring all the things, y'all know I love art, right? Economic privilege, right, Janice? And so we went down the related arts hallway and I popped into the art room, which I loved, by the way. But watch this. There was a quote on the there was a quote where like they do these wild facts. Oh, I'm sorry. I put the wrong thing. Hold on. Okay. So they do this thing. Yes. So they do this thing where they put like this wild fact up, right? And it's absolutely crazy, the stuff that they do. But get this. To paint the Mona Lisa's smile, not the whole painting, y'all. If you know this because you took a class, don't cheat. But I want the rest of you all to guess, how long did it take Leonardo da Vinci to paint the smile of Mona Lisa? How long did it take? What would you all guess? Just guess how long it took. Yeah, Uka, then don't talk. Kristen said a month. Tracy says 30 days. Somebody else said 2 months. Somebody said 1 year. Somebody said 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 day, 1 month, a week, a year, 2 weeks. Y'all ready for a shocker? Are you ready? Yeah. So which then don't say because you know. 1 day or a few hours, a week. Ginger B says a year. Janie says months. Buffoni says 20 minutes. It took Leonardo da Vinci 12 years to paint Mona Lisa's smile. 12 years to paint her smile. Privilege, people. You want to know what you can create if you don't have to worry about food and shelter? Maybe the fucking Mona Lisa. Imagine. Maybe this is why some of the most beautiful artwork doesn't come from here. The things that are going down in history, they come from places where people take 6 weeks holiday and they have universal health care. Right, Ginger B. So much untapped potential. It's just right. And moms get a full year of maternity leave. Right, John. He said in France, it's mandatory to take 2 months of holiday a year. This is the part that I want us to be thinking about in these conversations. The art world is your wheelhouse. Yeah, I know. It's good. It's good though, right? I love that. I love art. I just don't have a lot of time to partake as much, right? But let me say this, you all. It's crazy, but let me just tell you this. When you keep people happy and healthy, they do more. They're more productive. They just are. They're more productive. And the work is better. There's a quality that comes along with it. Right? We are living in a time right now where people are doing things the right way. Can you imagine 50 people? What if you traveled to another country? Let's just say you went to visit France. Okay. And you get to France, you schedule everything through customs, you let them know you're coming, you go on a tourist visa, they say you're good to go. You get to France with your tourist visa. And the next thing you know, you are scooped up off the street, you are detained, and then you are deported to one of the worst prisons in the world. You hear that? What would you think? What would your families be thinking? What would the American government say if this happened to an American in someone else's country? Let me just tell y'all something. Being an American does not make your life more valuable than anybody else's. I know that so many people would like to believe that it does, but it does not. You are not special. You are not better than. You are not above anybody else. You have no more value at all. Your meat suit is like everybody else's. Seriously. Because that's what's happening here. And it's not a small number. This is dozens of people. Right? Dozens of people deported. And they came here legally. Folks, this is why the United States of America's credit score was decreased for the first time in God knows however long. This is why the United States has been on a watch list for humanitarian rights. This is why Canadians said, fuck the United States of America, we ain't going. If you all don't realize how much tourism to this country brings in revenue every year, you will be shocked. Let me see if I can pull up really quickly. That's what I want. This right here. Canadian car travel to the United States plunged 35% in April, setting up a potential economic loss of $7.4 billion. Do you know what article I'm reading from? Forbes. I'm reading from Forbes. It's the fourth consecutive month of year-over-year declines. It is the fourth consecutive month of year-over-year declines. $7.4 billion this year. There was also a 20% decline in air travelers from Canada compared to April of 2024. How about that? So let me just tell you, 32% and 23% year-over-year drops in car travel and 14% and 2.4% drops in air travel. That's what happened in March and February, respectively. And then you hit April, and those numbers went to 35% by car and 20% by air that decreased. The U.S. Travel Association warned that even a 10% reduction in Canadian inbound tourism could translate to $2.1 billion in lost spending and 140,000 jobs jeopardized in the hospitality and related sectors. How about that? I'm just telling you, when people start to think about Do y'all remember the one person coming on TikTok trying to argue with me about did the United States pay for a $50,000 comic book in some other country? Do y'all remember that? And I'm thinking, you are worried about a $50,000 comic book. Really? And because you think that's what the problem is in our government. Meanwhile, we are losing billions of dollars in revenue and we are paying 30% more in tariffs to China. For the people who think that somehow Donald Trump got China to back down, that is not what happened. Donald Trump didn't get shit from China. He raised 30% tariffs. China said, I'll meet you there. And all they did was do a pause for 90 days on the most expensive shit. That's it. That's all they did. That's it. China said, nah, China said, I'll meet you and raise you. China said, we didn't even flinch. China said, I'll call your bluff all day, every day. Right? Right, Amy. China said, bet. Now, here's what really happened. Donald Trump said, watch me. I'm gonna bring China to their knees and I'm gonna put them tariffs on them. And he slapped them tariffs down. And you know what China said? Hold my beer. That is what China said. No, 100%. And I want you all to know that tanking the economy is the plan. It's not happening by accident. It is the plan. JD Vance has said it's going to hurt for a little while. Trump has said it's going to hurt for a little while. They want to cause you to hurt so that you will be willing to go back to the cubicles, back to the factories, back to the waiting tables, back to whatever the big corporations want you to do so they can make their billions. I'm going to say that again. They want to make you hurt until you are willing to do whatever work they want you to do, whatever work they make accessible for you to do, just to live and feed your family. And that's the United States of America today. That is the Trump administration. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is the Trump administration currently. That is not a partisan thing to say. That is not a liberal thing to say. That is not a progressive thing to say. That is a fact. You know, I went to look something up. Imagine that. Because I saw a post on social media, and it was one of the platforms. I don't remember which one, but it was one of the platforms where Don Jr. was attacking Jill Biden about Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis, right? And he referred to her as Dr. Jill Biden. And I think the first thing that stands out to me is that you are a grown ass man that doesn't understand that you can have a doctorate in education. What's up, Jules? Right? The doctorate is an education, fool. Right? But here's what he said. I want you all to see something. Hold on. Give me a second, Jimmy. I'll bring you up. So, no, I don't want to give you, no, but give me 1 second. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing he says, I want to just show you how damn crazy these people are. Oh, you can't see it. You know how TikTok blows stuff up. So the first thing that happens is there's this take that says Joe Biden has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Politics aside, we wish him a speedy recovery. And Don Jr. Reposts that and says 100% agreed. 100% agreed, right? That's what he says. Now listen, right after that, this fool turns around and says this. He turns around and says, what I want to know is how did Dr. Jill Biden a stage 5 metastatic cancer, or is this yet another cover up? I just can't. The last time I checked, people with a doctorate in education do not diagnose cancer of any kind. They don't do that. I'm just like, what in the absolute hell are we talking about? And why would you attack a woman who just found out her husband has an aggressive prostate cancer? I'm just asking. Yeah, it's not stage 9 cancer, Donald Trump. There's a Gleason score of 9. That's what it means. And then Donald Trump turns around and suggests that the cancer diagnosis was hidden from the public. Let me say this, seriously speaking. Leave that man alone. It is not relevant to absolutely anything. It is not relevant to anything. It literally is relevant to nothing. And let me just say this, if I could. If in fact Joe Biden had prostate cancer during his administration and he still was able to get the Inflation Reduction Act passed and the CHIPS Act passed and all of those things, fuck yeah, Joe, way to go. You hear me when I say that? If the man did have prostate cancer and he was still able to get all of that done, give us the fastest turnaround in history from a global pandemic, reduce inflation within just 2 years, shit. All I want to know is, Joe, where's your cape? Where's the S on your chest? Because that's a hell of a job, sir. It's a hell of a job. But I really am tired of people attacking this family. I cannot imagine the things that Joe Biden has endured. Not with the loss of his first family, not with the loss of Beau, not with the attacks on Hunter. I just can't. As a parent, I think about having one son that unalived themselves and another son being so targeted and drugged through the mud. And I mean, their son had his private parts put on the floor of Congress, y'all. What's up, Will Knive? Right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine every day Jill wondering if her baby was going to be okay? Needing to make sure that, first of all, he didn't relapse, and second of all, he kept breathing. See, but in order to think about these types of things, you'd actually have to have some empathy. You'd have to have some compassion about you. Or if I'm going to say it in the way that some of you all will get it, you'd have to have the love of Christ inside you. Right? To think about those types of things, you'd have to have a heart of Jesus, right? That's how I know some of y'all ain't got it. That's how I know. It's not because you're a Republican. It's literally because of your actions. It's because of your fruit. It's because of the things you say. It's because of the things you do. That's how I know. What's up, Wawa? In what world is it okay to attack people at their weakest, at their most vulnerable. Y'all remind me to go back to the South Africans because I didn't put them on this list, but they are on my list because I really want to talk about another article that came out regarding the South Africans and what many of the white South Africans had to say. Hold on one second. Where the hell is the other article that I wanted? This one. Okay. Oh, I love that, Cheryl. I love that. Their responses remind you of Gus Waltz all over again. Accurate, Jen. Accurate AF. Accurate AF. And this is the thing that, and let me just tell you something. I think quiet as kept, y'all. I think there are many educational systems, the districts that are high performing, that are going to continue to do education the way that education works. I really do. I feel like those schools that are in districts that that compete, that excel, that do well, I don't think they're going to cave and all of a sudden stop teaching accurately. I don't think that they're willing to risk losing the brilliant teachers that they have. You know, you want your school district to be a place that teachers fight to come work at, right? That's not going to happen if you kowtow and cater to. The same way that there are states and hospitals losing physicians and nurses is the same way that education, departments of education and school districts and schools will lose educators, highly qualified, highly skilled educators. Why? Because many of them can go to work on out school, earn a damn living that's even better and not have to deal with the bullshit that comes with being in the system. Do y'all realize that? Just saying. So, yeah, I said out school. Is anybody not familiar with out school? I love out school. So, so there are all types of classes that you can get for your kids to do, and there are real educators, there are real professionals that are doing these, and oftentimes they are very, a lot of times they are affordable and all of that. So I just went to the website just pulled it up, right? And so this one is a multiplication boot camp. Quickly solve, memorize times tables with Miss Tracy. She is scored with a 4.9 stars out of almost 1,400 reviews. The ages are 7 to 12-year-old, and it's $48 a week. And it's for 4 weeks. And so do you know what I do with things like this, folks? If it's something that I'm like, okay, I can swing it. This is what I do. This is when the village comes together. I literally will hit up my ex-husband, my mom, both the kids' parents, my other daughter, right? And the aunties, and I'll say, hey, there's this course, there's this program that that Dominic or Bella would benefit from, or Mila would benefit from. The cost is $48 a week. I'll pick up a week. Can anybody else pick up a week?
Tutu. How about a purple monster?
You saw a purple monster?
Yeah, in a game.
In the game?
Yeah.
Did it get you?
No.
Good.
I'm watching videos.
You're watching videos?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. But do you see what I'm saying? That's what the village mentality is. Okay, I got a week. Who else can take a week? Who else can take a week? Who else can take a week? But this is what educators can do. Uncle Doug said hi. And get this, you have 4 weeks of the classes, but you get 1 year access to the content. How about that? So these are the things that I'm telling you. There are all kinds of things in there for different types of things and all of that. Yeah, Sharon, listen. Here's the thing. Let me just say this, Sharon. Right now, I'm not on a major network with millions of viewers today. So my bank account doesn't reflect what is in the atmosphere for me yet. But it will. So until then, we all work together for things to happen. It's called OutSchool. You go to outschool.com, right? Yeah, Sharon, my George Soros checks are late. I'm just kidding. Ooh-wee. So, but I think that I just want people to understand, right, that there are options. And I don't think that all the things that, right, I don't think that all the things that the Trump administration is telling people is going to come to fruition, nor do I think that people want it to. Not when it's really there. Not when I don't believe that people truly understand or can visualize appropriately the impact that it would have on your school system if it lost its federal funding. I don't think that people know that. Really? So, and do you know what I loved? So get this. I got an email from the kids' teachers said, empty out your backpacks, right? Guys, they got all of their workbooks to bring home with them. Like we get to have them. I was like, oh my God, Bella, we get to work on this over the summer to make sure she doesn't have any loss. You know what I mean? It's incredible. We don't live in the world that existed previous to COVID. We don't live in a world that existed prior to that. It changed and opened up so many doors of living and incomes and earnings and things. We learned that we don't have to get up and go sit in these big buildings, right, all day long to do the job. That many of us can do the job while we take care of our families. And I know that Kevin Roberts doesn't like it when we sit on Zoom with pajama bottoms, right? I know he thinks that's a horrible thing. But let me tell you something. It's not a horrible thing. It's not a horrible thing. Imagine cutting down on the amount of air pollution that we have. Imagine people being able to juggle their lives. Imagine, do you know what's crazy, y'all? Nobody got mad during C-19 if you were on a Zoom and your toddler needed something for a minute. People understood that you were a person, that you had a family, that we were in extraordinary times, that things were different, right? You can't take us back to where we forget that we're human beings, that we have families, that we have lives, that they matter as much as the work does. They matter more than the work does. Right. More productive working from home. I think it depends upon the business, Renee. I think it depends upon the business. There are some businesses that you need to be there, right? Some businesses you need to be there. Others you do not. And we can make that happen. And I bet you money there are people that would want to leave their homes and go to work. Having hybrid options would be good for people, right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There are options. And we could make them doable. And when we talk about it's hurting people in the financial district and those types of things, I wonder why that is. Like, how much are they charging for the real estate? How much are the corporations doing? Corporations buy those things because they're business expenses and they get to count them off on their taxes and stuff, right? Yeah. Renee, let me do Jimmy first because he's been waiting the longest. Hey, Jimmy, how are you? Jimmy? I don't think Jimmy meant to request. Okay, Renee, what you got?
Good morning, Danny.
Good morning.
So, no, I had this conversation with a friend of mine, and he just made some valid points. So I agree with what you're saying 100%. But there is that flip side of, like I said, in my financial district, in San Francisco, like it's deserted, and I've worked there, and janitors are not, they've lost their jobs because there's no one, in the offices that need to really be there. So they've lost their jobs. Small coffee shops have lost their jobs because there isn't that same amount of people, going into work, so there's that side that's all I was kind of saying.
Yeah. And I get that. And I think we have to get creative, right? So this is when I start to say, okay. So, and I think that this is where, the judge is throwing out Diddy's testimony. I'll look at it in a second. But here's one of the things. I think one of the things that, and the reason why we are doing things that hurt people so much is that we are resisting change. Whenever, because everything changes, right? And so I think when we resist change, instead of figuring out how to go with the change and how to re-innovate, how to do all of those different things, right? We resist. And when we resist, that's what makes us hurt. And so I think that the corporations love the structure of our economy and our business in this country today. They love it because they're the ones that get to work from home 90% of the time, don't necessarily have to come into the office, write off everything for their business expenses, not pay their corporate taxes, and all of those things. They fucking love it, right? And they don't want that to change. And so those big corporations and those big CEOs are spending a lot of money to try to get legislators and politicians and people to keep things the same because that's a world that they love. But the reality is is that things are changing, and they are changing even more so with the younger generation. Right? They have no desire to be in cubicles like that. A good majority of them. They want something that is different, and they want a world that's going to last longer. And what we know is that means some big changes when it comes to, our big corporations, our big factories, our big, the way that we do things now. And so I think that I've said this for a while, and I still believe that. I believe that this season that we are in right now, while it is, this season that we are in right now, I believe is some of the big deep breaths or the last hurrah before certain parts of our way of being and our way of life go dark, like they're done. Right. It's an unaliving age. You got it, Uka. That's what I think. So I hear you, Renee. I just think that I wonder if those coffee shops thought about different ways of doing things. And because if those people, like, there's just, I don't know. I just think that we could innovate and keep up with these changes.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I see both sides. Like I prefer to work at home.
Yeah. But I also think about what else could we use those spaces for? I think about,
yeah, I mean, I know.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll say this. In my city in San Francisco, we got a new mayor, and he's actually taking some of the older buildings and converting it into art spaces or actually some housing for our homeless.
So in Atlanta, they actually took one of the big downtown high rises down there. Listen, they redid that entire thing and made it Section 8 housing. Big sky rise with gorgeous windows and the whole line, and they made it Section 8 housing. There are things that we could do. So, yeah. Okay.
I get it. I appreciate you. People who are losing their businesses.
I do.
Thank you, Danny.
I feel like
in the chat.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you, and I see that too. And I just wonder what would be a way that we could sustain those businesses throughout the change. right? I wonder what we could do as cities and states and counties to help those small businesses while we transition. You know what I mean? You know, I'm going to freak y'all out. But you all know that I have been working with the Virginia Democratic Rural Caucus. I've done the Michigan Democratic Rural Caucus, right? I've worked with ruralorganizing.org. I'm from a rural community. And so that's the thing. So yesterday I had this thought, okay? And this is what my thought was. I reached out to one of the chairpersons from one of those caucuses. And I said, hey, do the rural caucuses in the Democratic Party all work together? Like, do y'all have like a national rural caucus meeting? Do y'all have a national rural caucus summit? Like, to me, it just makes sense. And I was astounded to hear the reply, no, but we probably should. I just was like, what? So every Democratic state, every Democratic Party of every state has a rural caucus, but your rural caucuses don't talk to each other. They don't share information. They don't share what's working. They don't share what's different in their communities versus that. That's not a thing that y'all do. And it just blew me the hell away. Because guess what? I can promise you that entire Republican Party is working together. They are all on the same sheet of music. Can you not tell? And whenever somebody wants to sing a note that isn't in the book, they get their hand smacked. Do they not? Guys, the Democratic Party doesn't lose because they have bad ideas or bad policies or even bad intentions. The Democratic Party loses because they don't plan and message and consistent. Everybody's just doing their own thing. That's why. That doesn't work. Imagine the Democratic Party as a house, right? On this big piece of property. And you got some people outside that are like, ooh, I want rose beds over here. And somebody else is like, oh, you know what? I want some carrots right there. And then somebody else said, you know what? I think that all the animals should roam free. And so we got the rabbits over here and the chickens over here. And we got some oak trees over here. And then somebody's like, oh, I want to put a pool in. And somebody else over here is like, you know, we don't need a pool. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this instead. You know, what we're going to do is we're going to do, a basketball. We're going to do this, right? Next thing you know, you got somebody's bunnies walking around eating somebody else's carrots and cabbage and shit because nobody bothered to check with the person that was going to have the bunnies to see, are they going to be kept in a place where they can't get out before we plant the cabbages and the carrots right here. Nobody bothered to see where the garden was going to be before we decided we were going to let the animals run loose, right? Y'all turn it around. Y'all decided we was going to have birds and cats, and somebody thought it would be a good idea to buy a tiger. Somebody else said, oh, everybody should be vegetarian, but yet you got a tiger that needs 600 pounds of meat every damn week. Right? That's the problem. That is the perfect picture of the Democratic Party. Everybody doing their own damn thing and meanwhile messing up something that somebody else has done. And the thing is, cabbage and carrots is a great idea. Not putting animals in cages is a great idea. They're not a great idea in the same yard. You hear me? That's the difference. They're just not a great idea together. Yep, Gumps. And the Republicans have put a big old fence around everybody else and said, fight it out. And blame each other for your problems. That's a thing. What's up, Teacup? Good afternoon. Did you mean to request up? The fact that you're not talking yet makes me think no.
I didn't unmute because I've never done this before, and I'm very new to all of this.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry if it's a little loud. I'm out on my walk, so you'll hear the birds and stuff. But you know where I live, and so when you were talking about people redirecting how they did their businesses and stuff, especially here, after C-19 hit, a lot of places, except for in the city metro area itself, listen, those people went and bought trucks. The city incentivized them and give them great tax breaks. And now you can go into just about every community in your pajamas while you're working from home and get your French vanilla latte and get your euro, because now those people were able to buy big food trucks, big bougie coffee trucks, and you can still be in your community, whether it's affluent or not, and still go outside and get yourself a coffee. So it's just like you said, you have to redirect your business and figure out where it's going to work for you. But that's what a lot of people did where I live. And of course, you know, where I live. And they're making twice the amount of money because now they can go to the consumer as opposed to the consumer having to get out, get dressed, go to them and sit in a restaurant. You can walk out on your sidewalk and get a French vanilla latte.
100%.
In any area.
100%.
It's just like you said.
It's brilliant. And this is my thing, right? These are the things that we can make happen. It just takes innovation. It just takes people thinking. And the other thing that it takes is embracing change and knowing that change is inevitable. And so if you know that change is coming, if you can't continue to do what you've been doing, which, newsflash, we as human beings cannot continue to do what we've been doing. The planet said, hell no, right? And this is just my personal theory. What I believe is that at any point in time, whenever the existence of a particular creature becomes detrimental to the life of the planet unalives the existence of the people, of the problem. So I personally believe before this planet will run out of resources, the planet will get rid of the people. Whatever that looks like. That's just my take on it. Because Mother Nature's like, no, y'all not about to take us out. We'll just make it inhospitable for you all, right? That's what happens. So that's my opinion. So my thing is, what we know is that what we're doing doesn't work. What's up, Mother Football? It doesn't work. Right? It doesn't work. What we're doing doesn't work. And what is the definition of insanity? To keep repeating, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We cannot continue to conduct business this way. We cannot continue to do politics this way. We cannot continue to live this way, not as a country. We cannot continue to have media organizations that spin stories, that use headlines for clickbait, knowing that the information is inaccurate. Listen, I see news organizations using headlines that for clickbait, and it'll be shit happening in another country. But if you never ever read the article, you don't ever know the thing. Love you back, T. Right? We can't continue to have that. There should be consequences for people in these positions. And I mean this, there should be consequences for politicians. There should be consequences for elected people within the administrations. There should be consequences for, okay, so you know how we used to have a consumer protection department? I say that, and it's fucking not funny. I'm chuckling to keep from crying. So you know how we used to have a consumer fraud protection department? And it was about protecting the people from being misled, from being sold a product that they knew wasn't what it was, right? I believe we should have that in politics. I believe we should have that in politics. I think that politicians, that administrations, that press secretaries should not be allowed to sell the American people a bag of goods that is fucking rotten. I just do. I don't think that they should be allowed to tell lies and to manipulate things. I don't believe that they should be able to do so. I believe there should be an independent counsel that does an investigation into those things to find out what they did and didn't know ahead of time, and then determines an appropriate consequence. Just saying, call me crazy. But I think that, people should be held accountable for those types of things. Everybody keeps talking about the fairness doctrine. And do you know the thing that I think about that? I think, yes, bring it back. Great with that, right? I also think about this. What does it say about us as people that we need a law to tell us to have integrity? What does it mean? What does it say about our elected officials that they need something, that our journalists need the fairness doctrine? What does that say about us? And it's not like you have to even talk about religion. You don't. The only thing you have to talk about is treat other people how you want to be treated. Do you want to be lied to? No? Well, then don't fucking lie. You follow me? Our news is way biased. Way biased. What's up, DeBoss? I'm just saying, people, that we have to do better when it comes to these things. And I've got to see what that looks like and how that looks like. I'm literally considering a couple of different things so that when I'm on here, it's not just TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm considering something that's a little bit more. I was eating a Werther's, Nico. I was eating a Werther's. That's what it was. So, yeah, thanks for the reminder, Lenny. So, I wanted to say something, and I'm not going to ruin it, but have you all noticed the last 2 or 3 days? She's doing better. She's figuring it out. You know what I mean? What's up, Mr. Ray? Hey, Beach Bum wannabe. Yeah, Janice. So this is my thing. So I know for sure things that I need to do. Yeah, Conchita, growing. 100%. You got to remember, so Dominic and Bella spent more time with me when they were littler than she did. And so she's finally kind of getting it, I think, which I love that. I was listening to her count yesterday, and her and Bella were working together on something. And Bella was like, so we're going to do this. Okay. We do this so that we can do that. And Mila was like, okay. And all of that. But so listen, what's up, cuz? Good to see you, Carla. What, baby? Come here. What'd you say? You want someone that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you gave me a kiss. Right, John. That's exactly what she said. Yep, Conchita. And then she got distracted by the Werthers. Look. Close your big mouth. Yes, MG Brock, it is. Look. Be careful with that candy in your mouth. Okay? Be careful.
Okay.
Yeah. You remember Tutu says you have to be still when you have hard candy in your mouth. Yeah, so good morning. So What are the take? Oh, those were cute. I'm sad she missed that one, Bree. She would have loved that one. So what are the takeaways so far? Right? The takeaways are we need to do something about our media. What is that? What do? I think we create our own. And I want you all to hear my heart when I say this. This is not a knock on anybody else. It is not a knock on Midas Touch. It's not a knock on what are the other ones that are out there, y'all? I don't know them all, but it's not a knock on anybody else, right? It's not a knock, right? What it is to me, so this is my thing. Yeah, it's not a knock on the Parnases. It's not a knock on Midas Touch. It's not a knock on Brian Tyler Cohen. It's not a knock on any of those people. What I see those people as is more talk about Trump, more talk about Elon Musk, more talk about them. Does that make sense? And I want to stop talking about him. And they repeat the news from mainstream media. And what I want us to talk about are actual facts and actual things that people can meet in the middle on and have conversation. Yeah, I know Winn-Dixie. I know he's got Substack too. Does that make sense? So I want to focus, the things that I want to focus on are, so why do I think it's important in this conversation? The only time that Trump came up in this conversation was about the Venezuelans, because he's relevant to that. And that's important. Right. Beach Bum Wannabe, talk about policy. Talk about what's actually happening and be fair across the board. Right. And so that is my thought process. And so I'm thinking about some things on how to make that happen. What I know for sure is that, me too, Wawa, is that in order for me to do some of the things that I'm thinking, I'm going to need, I'm going to have to look into how I can buff up some of the equipment that I have, right? John, we talked about this the other day. My poor little MacBook, been with me about 7-8 years now. It needs a little love or a replacement. Appreciate you, Candy. So I've got to figure out how to do these things, right? No, Wawa wasn't saying what. It's just me. Wawa is a friendly. So there is one, I saw one article, which it was in The Hill. So The Hill talked about what is in, I think it was The Hill. So there are, yep, they did. It's what's in the GOP's big, beautiful bill. It's 1,116 pages long. And what we can do is we can absolutely go over it. Yeah, no worries. But it won't be right this second because my boy's graduating middle school tomorrow and I have to get all of his things together, right? Is it something Phantom can help with? Once I get everything set up. So here's the thing, Janice, in order for me to stream to Substack, the way that I'm streaming to Facebook and to YouTube, I have to go live on the Substack app first. And I can't go live on Substack and TikTok at the same time using a phone. So that means I need a second phone. It means that. It means, all those, it means a couple of different things for me. And I just have to look into what that looks like. Because I don't know yet. My goal is to have everything in place in about a month or so. Like that's really, really what I want to do. And so that's what I'm working on. So, I love that people are reading the Substack today. So, and here's the other thing, right? I want, just the facts type of news, right? Just the facts type of news. And the point, so this is the thing. I think the only time the party comes into it, I think the only time, hey, Isaiah, the only time that particular politicians come into it, if what is happening is a direct result of what they've said or done, and then I think that can be stated here, the facts be given here, and even an opposing view on that side of things, right? You watch me, I'm your facts. But you see what I'm saying? I think that there is a way to do all of it, because there are times where we do have to talk about, would I ever consider crowdsourcing my needs? Gumps, I don't know. You see how uncomfortable that makes me? Yeah, I'm, I don't know. I think you thought I might cringe a little bit. I do cringe a little bit. And the reason you want to do a higher sub. Okay, so I do need to help with that. I know people want to change some of their subscriptions. And I have a deck to mail out for someone today, somebody that bought a Connect deck. So you see the vision and you like the view. Yeah, I have a can I share something with you? Just start there. Yeah, so this is the thing, right? I am Mel Gray. Okay. Let me Mel Gray, message me on Discord and give me your email address that's attached to your subscription, please. And I will look at it this evening. Yeah, they can be express shipped. Yeah. I have them here. So I just mail them out. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So Farah, you said if I were to put up a billboard in relation to politics, what would you put on it? So I have questions around that. Okay. Sounds good. Coolest mom ever. So questions that I have, Farah, where is the billboard going? Like state at a bare minimum. No, Grayson, he doesn't understand the difference between an MD and a PhD. He doesn't. That's what I'm saying. A doctorate in education, not a medical doctor. So the question for those of you guys that are on YouTube and Facebook, the question that's been posed to me is that if I were going to put up a political billboard, what would I put on it? And so one of the things that I ask is that, well, where would the billboard be going? Because, for example, if there are billboards that are going up in, I don't know, Florida or Texas or Arizona or California, those might have different things on them, right? If I were going to put up a billboard in Sarah Huckabee's thing, it would be directly related to FEMA disaster and such, because Trump denied them emergency disaster relief, right? So it would be what I always look for, whether I'm looking at a billboard, t-shirts, yard signs, or whatever. I want the message to connect to a need that the people have that they aren't getting, and from someone that they should be getting it from, right? So I want to tap into something that gets an emotional reaction from people. That would be my first thought, right? Yeah, Blue Honey Pod, I'm not even there. I got to get to midterms before I ever get to 2028, right? I just do. Yeah. DeBoss, you had something for me?
You know where I'm going with this, Mrs. Early Morning Cringeworthy. You already
Did you say early morning cringeworthy?
Yeah, because you know the conversation. You've been asked a couple of times in the comments,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the conversation that you don't want to have. That I know that it makes you. I know
See,
cringeworthy.
the
but
Lord took out
everybody
your
on
Wi-Fi
here
just
wants to be
now.
an advocate for the same things and help you get to where you need to go.
Yeah. So
We
you see the Lord handling him.
hear me now? Is that better?
You got one little red bar.
The Lord messing with my Wi-Fi. Yeah, the Lord messing with. Let me move. I'm gonna mute. But we having this conversation this morning. Let me move.
The Lord said, Danny, I got your back today. You all good. Yeah, Carol, the Lord.
Yeah, he's working. He's working.
See, so for those of you all that are on the Facebook and YouTube side of the world, DeBoss and I are really good and friendly. Yeah, Linda Sims, the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lord.
Yeah, the Lord is.
He gave me Wi-Fi to have this conversation. I know it makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But we're on a mission. You are our leader. We have to help you make sure you have the tools you need to get there. That's what we want to do. I know it's an uncomfortable conversation for you, but you know it's not an uncomfortable conversation for me to advocate for you like you advocate for us.
I know. Okay, so just being transparent. So do you know what I hear in my brain? Girl, they just your subscribers just got together and sent you birthday money, right? And and I hear in my brain, like I'm behind on getting the other coaching program up on Thinkific. I hear in my brain all the things that I feel like where I'm not doing enough. That's what I hear in my brain, just keeping it 100% real. That is what I hear in my brain. And so for me, when you understand, right, that productivity and performance has always been tied to worth and value, then you understand that when I'm not able to do all the things that I want to do, right? And the things that I feel like I should do, they are connected in my brain in the way that I think about things. So
sure. And
yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the comments. So right now I'm going to speak for the comments. How about that? We all want to help you get to this goal. So what I'm gonna do here is, if you don't want to commit to this crowdfunding opportunity, I'm going to commit to it for the people, so we can help you get to where you need to be. So I'm really not asking anymore. Look at that. Gotta put my foot down with Danny. I didn't think I would ever say that out loud.
That's only because you own TikTok and you're not in my face.
Right. And I'm on the other side of the country, so I can get away with it. But look at the comments. We want to help you get there. So if anybody that's interested in helping, DM me directly so we can have a conversation. We're going to put together a strategy to make sure that my sister, the woman that I care about dearly, that I met on this app and want to see her be great, you're trying to be great for everybody else. We've got to provide you the tools and the resources to make sure you can do what you need to do. Be good. And look at the comments. Give us an opportunity to help. We're going to make sure that you can do what you need to do. You don't have to worry about the things that the rest of us worry about while you're spending time making sure we're educated to make it. Yeah. We're in this whole circle of, no, we're going to get out of this circle. We're going to get out of this loop. We're going to make sure that you have the things that you need to do. That's why the Lord gave me my Wi-Fi back. To make sure we put this message out there so you can do what you need to do.
Right, Marky. DeBoss is the best too. I agree.
And we got you, and we got to make sure that I don't want to hear you talk about that you don't have how can we expect somebody to build a home and they don't have all the tools they need to build a home and they know exactly what they're doing? You know exactly what you're doing. We're gonna plug these holes up to make sure you don't have to worry about them, just like you're doing that so we can do what we need to do. So DM me, we'll have a conversation and we'll get back to her and let her know what we've come up with to make sure she has got all the things she needs. Look how uncomfortable this conversation makes you.
It's very uncomfortable. Yeah.
No, but Danny, listen, I'm talking to the woman that slept outside how many nights to help somebody else. I'm talking to the woman that helps these babies every single day on this live while you're trying to help us. I'm talking to the woman that had her mom there. I'm talking to the woman that makes sure everybody else has what they need. And yeah, you might be uncomfortable hearing this because if the shoe was on the other foot, I would be uncomfortable too because I'm a giver by nature. But damn it, at some point in time, just a moment in time, somebody's are willing to do for you. And we always have been. You didn't want to have this conversation. So I probably overstepped this morning. You might direct message me later on.
I might cuss you out via text.
Yeah, you might cuss me out. Yep, and I will take it if that means that we're going to help you get where you need to be. I'll take it every day. So I will get back to you where we are helping you. Damn, I feel good to say that.
Yeah. Okay. Veronica, I see you over there on Facebook clapping.
So I'm going to drop down. I'm going to let somebody else come up and I'm going to drop down. But that's where we are. Your Danikins are on a mission for you.
Well, I appreciate the Danikins. The Danikins know I love them very much. Very, very much.
So we got you.
All right. I'm going to drop you down for the algorithm. Get your ass right on off the panel. Yeah, doing that. So, Mom with Goals, did you mean to request up? I usually ask when somebody that is not usually coming up to the panel pops up. I always ask because sometimes I know that it's you tapping away, and that's how you got there. Thanks, Veronica. Cause accident. That's what I thought. I got it. No worries. On that note, for my folks back home, here's what I will say to you is by the end of the month, we'll have some more work out there for y'all that are back home by the end of the month. Y'all hear me? And I'm excited, about this one, so y'all know whenever there's an opportunity to highlight things that are happening with ballot and all of those things, right? Because just because we're not outside of Holston Valley doesn't mean that we're not still doing work, that we're not still pushing buttons, that things aren't happening, because they are. And so, just know that when you see my Facebook post and or you see me on Blue Sky and I go, "Good morning, Alan." You'll know that it's that time. Thank you, Veronica. If you're not in my Discord, so for my YouTube and Facebook folks, the way that you get connected with the TikTok community is in the Discord. Get into the Discord so that everyone can connect together. That is the best way. And the Discord is in my link tree, and there's a side for subscribers and non-subscribers. And I want to say this because I was talking to somebody yesterday that said that they felt guilty because they couldn't do anything for my birthday. And my immediate response was, I'm not worried about that in the least. Like, first of all, I'm grateful for anybody that did do something. And I'm grateful for the people that wanted to do something and couldn't do something. Because here's what I truly believe about that. I believe that when you want to give and you might not be able to do so monetarily at the time, I believe that the desire, the energy behind that desire goes out and creates giving from another source in your place. I just really do think that. I think that when we put the emotion behind our needs for something, then it still is doing its job out there in the atmosphere, right? And so it doesn't matter to me whether you call it the universe, God, I don't care what you call it. I just think that that's a thing, right? So Yeah. So, and that's my thing, right? I understand that. Thanks, Sean. Um, so Megan, it's not hard. If you go, when you go into my link tree, there's like a little game controller. Click that link. And if clicking it doesn't work, just copy and paste the link into another browser. And then it will open up. And if it's on your phone, I would download the Discord app first. That way, when you click the link in my link tree, it'll open up the app for you. Okay. And then you'll immediately go through like a little verification section. And there's literally Phantom has made it so easy. It's a step-by-step process. But that is also a way, if you're not on TikTok and you want to reach out to Michael DeBoss, then that's also a way to do that. Okay. What was I saying? So here's the thing. I really do understand, and I talk about this a lot. What I typically see happening in this country and in a lot of places is the people with the, I don't want to say the least, but it's those of us that know what it's like to not have. We're the people that give the easiest. And it's the people that have the most that don't give enough. Does that make sense? And so when I hear you all saying to me, you want to help and you want to support, I'm immensely grateful for that. And I also, in my head, I'm thinking, I also know that you all are living like me. As far as I know, none of y'all are millionaires. If I got a millionaire watching, I will not feel any kind of way taking money from you. Let me say that. Let me say that. Okay. If, as far as I know, I don't have any millionaires watching. However, if I do, I would have no hesitation taking money from you. It's the folks that are everyday like me that I know. So like people that know me know me. So I got two things for myself so far with the birthday money that people sent to me. I got my new tennis shoes that I've needed for a year and a half. And I got my new chairs for my patio, which is where I've been sitting every morning watching the sunrise, right? Love that. It's done a ton for me, right? I also got the kids new swimming stuff for this year because they can't fit last year's, right? I also got Dominic's graduation shirt, right? I got him pants too, but they don't fit, so I got to get him something else. I also got my niece's birthday gifts because that was her birthday party this past Sunday, right? So when I say to you all that people who are subscribers, people that do support me, it goes into my livelihood. It goes into the way I take care of the kids. It goes into that. It doesn't, I'm not Joel Osteen. I'm not driving a $300,000 car, right? I'm not. And so, it's just, well, yeah, but here's the thing, Marky. Here's what I will say, is that, so let me say this, when I get the kids, like the girls love their swimming suits, and Dominic loved I got him swimming trunks and a swim shirt, because he's going, boys go through that stage, right? Where their bodies change and they have our hormones and their hormones and all the things, and they might not be comfortable with everything having leveled out and all of that. You know what I mean? So like, I got that for him, and he was so comfortable when he went to the pool, and he was like, yeah, Tutu, they fit great. Love that for him, right? Bella wanted to make cookies for her teachers. So we, it's those types of things. And so for me, the way that I talk when I sound, because they are it for me. You know what I mean? They are it for me. I will say this, my oldest baby got me, I asked for a second generation Apple Watch because it was only like $79. I don't know what generation this one is, but they accidentally shipped the receipt in it. So I know it ain't that, right? But that's helped me because one of the things is I want to get back to being more active. People who know me know I used to be a lot more active. And so this has been very motivating for me. So like I have been, it's cool. And but I also have taken care of some other things. So anyway, yeah, when I say it was helpful to me because I was traveling. Remember when in April, I was traveling and I couldn't go live on TikTok? Y'all remember that? Okay. So also remember that the rural caucuses don't get enough money from the party to pay me for my services. They take care of the accommodations and the travel and they feed me, but there's no additional anything over that. So all of that, and one of them, it didn't cover all the travel. So when I say that I'm grateful for people who choose, yes, Veronica, really. Michigan covered my airfare and my accommodations. Virginia covered my accommodations. And, it just is what it is. So when I say that, that it was perfect timing and it was great, and I was very grateful for the gifts that you guys did send me, I really was, because it ensured that I took care of my family, So just kind of is what it is. And my mama got me my new chair. I didn't eat a sea buffet, Blue Honey Pot. I did not eat a sea buffet. I think that was Friday night, and I didn't get there until later Friday night, so I missed the sea buffet. Yeah, girl, that was not for me. I got there later Friday evening. I know, Veronica. And this is my thing. I believe that the Democratic Party should give the rural caucus enough to pay for that, right? I do. I believe that with everything in me. I also believe that, yeah, she did. And I do love it. So yeah. But yeah, like I'm just trusting. I know that I really do feel like the community that we're building here, the voices and the people and the doers that are part of this community. And we have a lot of doers in here, right? You heard Sammy J yesterday talking. Jen Yaya is a write-in for her school board now and has given out a shit ton of yard signs. And Stacy got in her car and drove all the way to Ohio to help do yard signs. And Macaroni and his wife, they did yard signs. And Marnie drove to meet me to get yard signs to take up to Western North Carolina, after the hurricane. Father Time met me and took a yard sign and some buttons as well, right? We have a community of doers. We have people here that are emailing their legislators regularly, that are writing letters to the editors, that are using social media, that are showing up, that are sharing the information that we get. And so for me, I feel like this is a very authentic group of committed individuals, and it's different than most of what exists out there on social media. And because of that, I believe that the entire community will grow and be lifted up and be a force to reckon with, in a very good way that gets into a lot of good trouble, and that helps put things back together. No, not back together in our communities, because we haven't really truly been together. We haven't really truly been together, but we can be. We really can be. So that is the goal. That is the agenda. Oh, yeah, I know, Carol. I do. And I do. It is just difficult. I agree with you, coolest mom ever. I agree with you. It is just challenging. I won't say it's difficult. What I would say is that it's uncomfortable. And I do know that when you are uncomfortable, it's growth. I do know that. I do. It's just, getting through it. That's it. So, all right. So here's what I'm going to do. I know that this is earlier than we normally get off, but I was also on earlier than I get on. Here's what I need to do. I need to get off and help Miss Mila get herself together, so that she and I can go out and get some dress pants for her bubby. And because here's last year, he got stressed out a little bit. He's built athletic. He reminds me of this linebacker I used to date who had a booty that most women would pay for. um, and so you need like athletic built kind of gear for that. And so last time you had to do this, it stressed Dominic out a lot. So so I'm going to go look ahead of him, right? Ahead of time, maybe pull out some things so that when he gets home, you know, I can take some of the pressure off him. I just don't want him stressed out, and I don't want him feeling some kind of way. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. Cool. Coolest mom ever. Yeah. Hey, Dr. Henry, good to see you. So that is the plan. And then I might come back on later, like, but not for like a very political live. I might come back on when the girls and I are doing, baking some more cookies for the kids. So your kid has to wear 30, 38 pants. Yeah. So, just saying, you know, I just don't want him to stress. The last thing I want at this age of the game, when you're going into that puberty phase of life, is to give anyone make them conscious about their bodies, right? I just don't think that children should be conscious about their bodies, and that sort of thing. And so anything that I can do to alleviate that, I want to do and make happen. So it is very tough, Danielle. Oh, you're doing Cannon's 5th grade tomorrow. I'm doing Dominic's. Hey, Pentinton. Yep. Oh, good vibes. Love that. Now I know who you are. Right. Right. Which he did last time. He detested it last time. It was very stressful for him last time. And so I just don't want him to have that. By the way, one of the other things that Cheryl mentioned when I was talking about OutSchool is there are some things on, Friday by 11. There are some courses on OutSchool that are about being on the spectrum, and they are taught by autistic people as well. So if you're someone who needs additional support or resources, do that, right? Yeah, Edith, appreciate you. Yeah, y'all hear her in there. She's going to be ready to go. And ADHD as well, Cheryl says. So I truly do appreciate you all. We talked media, Venezuelans. We didn't get to AB again. You're going to your grandson's kindergarten graduation. I love that. Kathmandu, executive functioning. Yes, all of those things, Cheryl. So I will be back. But yeah, I got to put everything together to make sure this young boy, this young man has a great graduation. Like that's the plan, you know? So I'm excited for him. He had field day today too. So, yep. Congrats to all the graduates. I will see you all, definitely tomorrow, but maybe later in the morning because I've got graduation at 8:30. So got to see you after that. Okay. Yep. Excited for that. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate you guys. Love you much. I will see you all later. Bye.